14 of our Radiant loops are down, and now we just have these messes here where the manifolds are going to go. I do know for right now my manifold is going to go here and over there where you see these kind of leftover loops and messes of pipe. I don't know how high I want my manifold to be. You can use strapping like I did for our pump, but I think for right now I'm just going to temporarily get it set off this cross member. It may be permanent on this cross member. I don't really know. This is a good place for us to tie it to so that we can bring all of our risers up, and I'll show you a little trick I use for those. All my conduit 90s are in, and we have got them put into the manifold, which is currently holding 100 psi, and we're going to leave it like that really until we decide to put water in this, because leaving this system pressurized will allow us to monitor if anything's been punctured while we are putting concrete on all of this. I'm going to show you on the next rat's nest pretty much how we did all of this, and I'm not even done here yet. I have straps so that we can go ahead and hole strap everything so it's nice and straight, and so that the conduit won't flex at all either. This rat's nest right now is going to clean up really nice. This is all of the zones that are running off of this manifold. Now, the way this shop is actually set up, I can technically make this half of the shop be warmer or cooler than that half of the shop. That's a little counterproductive for the space and the way it's divided up. It's just one big room, so we want to just heat everything up and call it good. But if you are thinking about Radiant for your house, if you have certain areas that you would like to cut off or separate, you can do it that way. Radiantech will work through your plans to kind of set that up. So what we did in our house, in our basement where it's Radiant, I did the main room, and the bulk of the basement is one set of zones, and then the kids' bedrooms are another set of zones. And I initially thought, oh, I'll keep their rooms warmer so they're warmer when they sleep, but it's actually opposite. They want it cooler for when they go to bed. So I keep their rooms much cooler, and I keep the rest of the rooms a little bit warmer. If they're set up on different manifolds, you can isolate those a little bit, and you can kind of dial it in to be a little more than just all on or all off. When your stuff ships from Radiantech, it comes all built like this. All of your manifolds are already pre-built, so you don't have to do any soldering, which is kind of nice. So you just have to take them apart. This is how well they're packaged. How nice is that? Just completely, I don't know, their packaging is just unbelievable to me. I was really happy to see it. I was worried how things were going to transport because it came clear across the country, and every time we've ordered manifolds from them, they've come really well. If you don't have a laser, you do not need one, but if you do, it is a sure handy tool. It's telling me where that valve sits, because that's the first one I'm going to work off of, versus where I need to get my conduit pieces to start sitting. So I'm just going to make a small line right here, so I know that's where I'm starting at. I don't want to say that the rest don't matter, but the rest are a little more movable from there. This is the starting point, so I want it to fix roughly in the area. I have clips to connect those conduits so they're solidified. It's one of the things I didn't do on the first section of Radiant we did in the house that I wish I would have, just taken a little more time here. So I'm trying to take as much time here as I possibly can, because once it's in concrete, it is stuck. There's no changing it. So I'm just trying to think through it the best that I can. Don't get me wrong, my other ones work just fine, but there's little things I've looked at and thought, I probably wish I could do that a little different. Take your time, think it through. These are electrical 90s, and the reason I use the electrical 90s is because they are a sweep 90. They're not a straight 90. They are a little more pricey, but I feel like it's worth the money to protect them. It keeps where that pipe comes in and out of the concrete a little more protected. So that's why I'm going with them. I did have to go up to 1.25 inch for this tube, because this is 5/8 tube. On the rest of the house that we did, it was 1/2 inch tube, so I was able to get away with 1 inch. But I really do recommend using these. You can buy just little sweeps like this that can come with some Radiant kits. I didn't like how chintzy they were. They felt really vulnerable, really thin. It was like a Schedule 20. This is a Schedule 40, and that durability just feels better. So it was worth the extra expense. And I think it wasn't that much more money either. to buy these rather than what is supposed to go with your Radiant tubing. As you can tell with these staples, a lot of these next to the manifold are going to get torn out and put back in. That's okay. They're easy to put back in. But I just had them set there so we could pull off of it. But now we are going to adjust things according to where this is going to go into place. So I obviously yanked those out. May even have to pull that one. Don't be scared to move your pipe. Even after you've got it stapled on, even if you're using zip ties to hold it, don't be scared to cut them and readjust things as you're flexing it into the manifolds. That's where it has to look clean, feel nice, no kinks. So don't be scared to adjust things a little bit. I kind of knew we'd be doing that going into this. So I have extra clips and extra staples, and that tool comes in real handy. With this first one, you can see I flexed this back. This is where it used to go. I flexed it back, brought it in. I put one kind of by this so that it helps this to stay in put, and then we can fix it right there. Now I do put the bell housing down. I don't know why, it doesn't really matter. I just feel like it's easier. So I just put the bell housing down first and bring it up. When I cut the tubing, I do give myself a little extra because I can always push the slack back down into here to get things straightened out. But if it's too short, then you have a whole different world of problems. And it's gonna be a lot harder to gain some pipe than it is to push a little pipe back. When your manifold comes out of the box, it has all the pieces you need right on it. With these junctions comes the brass nut and the ferrule, and they send it with everything on, which is so nice. So I've got it off and in order. Your nut goes on first, then the ferrule, and then you're putting it back up in. But you can tell there's a little bit of a gap back there. You want to make sure that hose goes up into that as best you can. Get it past there, push the ferrule up, and then make sure that your threads are going on smooth, because it's brass, it will cross thread really easy. So just make sure it's going on smooth. I'm not gonna crank that down yet. We'll do all of those at once, but number one is pretty well in place. Okay, we have gotten a lot of this already started to be organized. And if you're wondering, okay, what's the best way to go about this? There's not a great way, but what you have to keep in mind is you don't want your tubes to overlap each other. So, and they design it that way. So I just need to start with the tube closest to the first so that nothing's overlapping anywhere. None of these will overlap. So having a number system on them works, but it ultimately doesn't matter. You just have to get it in the order that they were laid down. So that tells me this guy is next. All of them are in. They didn't have enough of the 90s, so I need to go pick one more up. They were short at the store, so it's waiting for me. I'm gonna go pick it up. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get everything tested for air pressure to make sure we have no leaks. So everything is ready to just put the air compressor to. These fittings are all brass as well, so you do need to get them snug, but you can strip them. So just get some pretty good pressure on there. Do not use channel locks because you will shred these nuts and they won't come on and off as well as you need them to later on, or won't tighten up properly. So use crescent wrenches or exact wrenches or even brass wrenches if you have them. Now the fun part is putting the air into this, and I'm going to bring this guy up to 100 psi, but it is going to take a while. Essentially, all of these tubes are full of air, which makes the compressor that size plus all the tubes. So that's a lot of volume of air we've got to fill. 99. Come on. Come on. 100. We are at 100 psi. It is holding, and we're gonna let it hold pressure like that throughout the concrete pour so that if something gets nicked or bumped or anything like that, you'll quickly know. You'll hear the air come out of it. It'll gurgle the concrete. It'll really just be apparent, and that's kind of what you want, so you know you've got a problem. You can fix it right then and there. You can splice it in the concrete if you need to. So if you do puncture one, you can chip out concrete and fix it. It's not the easy way to do things, but it is manageable. It doesn't have to be a complete loss. It just takes a lot to get it back. I am just getting these kind of buttoned up and cleaned up and organized so that they look really clean, when we put concrete in. And I have bought these metal straps to go over it. When I started layering them into where they needed to go, it was pretty difficult to get it to lay nicely. So I thought I need just one whole piece. So I took a 2x4. Oh, that's a bad sliver. Owie. Ouch. Mother, holy cow, that hurt. So I took a 2x4 and I marked a line where all of the valves went so that I knew this exact layout. Then I took an 1 3/4 hole saw, because that is what the outside dimension of this is, and I made 14 cuts. It went really fast, and then it lines up so much better. Let me show you. I feel like this was pretty cool the way it lined up. So I just worked my way down, get all the pecs in. Let's see. That's right. Make sure we've got everything in. Oh, that went a little tight. There we go. We got it. Okay. So now I just work my way down. Go start at the first one, go to the next one, go to the next one, kind of slide. I'm doing two things. I'm kind of pushing the board down, but I'm also sliding these up in because I can go back and push everything down, but we just got to get it all in. Okay, some of these are holding this guy up big time. There we go. Okay, so now I can go back. I think I want that piece of wood set down just a little bit below. Oh, come on. Not all of these are cooperating. This thing is twisted. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go, we got it. Okay. So now I can go back and take all of these and put these to the height I want them to be, which is pretty well flush with that concrete, I feel like. And I like that height, that height. And you may be wondering, Joel, why does it even matter? Does it really even matter? No, it doesn't really matter. It will not change the way your radiant system works, but I do want it to look nice when all the concrete's gone. So here's my plan. Concrete will come to about here, and once it's cured, these will all be fixed in place. Then I can go back through and cut this piece of wood out if I want, or even just pop it and lift it up, and it should come out just fine. But this way, everything gets held to a fairly equal kind of dimension, and it just looks nice. When we did the radiant at the first time, I kind of put these really close together, and so these come up and then go out, and it doesn't look as nice. I just want it to look as clean as possible because this is going to be exposed. It's not really going to be covered, so I want it to look like it was thought out, well organized. We had some thought behind our process. And I feel like this went together a lot easier than trying to put the metal clips that I had originally bought. So I can take those back. Those are like $1 a clip, so I can take $25 worth. I had plenty of lumber left over. That was free, and that's a good deal. We are still waiting on our official pour day. It's been scheduled, but the guy I've hired does unbelievable work. And he does commercial work, not residential work. It means I have to wait and find a window in between his commercial jobs to come do a residential job. But I've seen his work so I want him because he's the best. One last little tip or trick that I'm gonna do on this before we're fully ready for concrete, which we are, is put a little bit of this expanding foam, doesn't matter what brand, what kind, I'm just gonna pour it right in these. What we wanna do is just not allow concrete to get inside of these, and they say to vibrate or to kind of rub against the pipes or whatnot. You might get a little expanded contraction in these pipes over time, but they say you don't want any concrete to kind of go into those pipes. So we are going to just spray them full of foam. And I don't think they have to be like crazy full, just enough so it seals it. There we go. They are nice and sealed up and just keeps everything out of there. Let's go to the other side. One last tip, if you're going to be using this canned foam and you're not going to be reusing this can, throw it away right now, because this is the greatest toy a child can find. They will make a mess of everything. This stuff sticks to everything. So, from past experience, throw this away before it becomes a big problem. This is our manifolds. They're fully in and fully operational. I can't wait till we get concrete on this so we can actually start heating this place up. So if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I will link these particular sweeps down in the description if you're looking for them, and any information from Radiantech if you're interested in any of their radiant heat products. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye, guys. One last tip is if you have a can, some of these are reusable, some of them aren't. One last tip, if you're using this kind of can foam and you're not going to reuse it,